Hey everyone, Jeff Tidy Bytes here. We're now in week 2 of Photos Month here in Tidy 24. Last week we went through the task to find your media, which is to identify the devices and online storage platforms and all the places where you might have photos and videos that you want to keep. Here in week 2, we're moving on to the next task, which is to pick your platform. So we've got all these photos and videos. They need to be stored somewhere once they're organized, right? Where is that? One quick heads up early in the video, I want to mention two services that are really worth looking into. One is Mylio, the other is Monument. I'll talk a little more about those later, but I want to whet your appetite because I think they're both very good options if you don't already have a system chosen and in place. So when I talk about photo storage platforms, there are basically two options that we have at a high level. One is local storage, the other is cloud storage. There are many different options inside of those categories, but that's what we're working with at a high level. Local storage basically means you are keeping your photos and videos on some device or media that you own and have physical access to. That usually means like a hard drive on your computer, a USB flash drive, CD-ROMs even, although nobody uses those anymore. Things like that. Something that you have that you can hold in your hand and you know that's where your files are. In contrast, cloud storage is something that you don't have physical access to generally. It's a service that someone else provides for you. Something like Google Photos or iCloud Photos, OneDrive, Dropbox, those types of services. Some of the advantages of local storage are privacy and security. You know, nobody else has access to your physical devices, so you have great control over that. You don't need a working or fast internet connection to work with your files that are on those devices. So if you have either no internet or unreliable internet or slow internet, sometimes using local storage can make your whole process more efficient. Then there's also no dependence on outside services. Sometimes photo storage platforms specifically have been known to shut down for one reason or another. And when that happens, even if you do have advance notice, you have to go through the process of trying to migrate off of one of those platforms and use something else, and that can be a pain. Local storage avoids that because you are in control. Also, local storage generally has no ongoing cost. There is an upfront cost to pay for the hardware that you're going to use, but you don't have to pay a monthly fee to continue using what you already bought. However, be aware that there is the matter of maintenance, and physical hardware can and does fail. So you need to stay on top of that to make sure that everything is still working reliably and you replace things that need to be replaced before they fail. Also, local storage is totally customizable. You're not boxed into somebody's idea of how you should organize things. You can use whatever folder hierarchy you want. You can use tagging. You can use a date-based hierarchy structure. You can do whatever you want because it's your own system. However, you do need to manage your own backups, and that is a critical point. No matter what service you use, even if it's a cloud service, it's important to have at least one, if not two, full backup copies that you can rely on if either the cloud service goes down or something gets corrupted, something gets hacked, all kinds of things that can go wrong. If you have backups in place, you don't really have to worry about those because you can recover. And that is especially true if you're doing local storage for your photos and videos because nobody else is going to do it for you. So for some examples of local storage, in the simplest case, you might just have all the photos and videos you take on your one smartphone. I wouldn't recommend keeping it that way because if that one device fails and you're not backing them up to, say, iCloud or Google Photos, then you're in trouble because everything is just gone and you have no recourse. Generally, though, if you take that approach, behind the scenes, you probably are using iCloud or Google Photos or some other service that gives you at least one backup copy. Another example of local storage is if you use your desktop or laptop computer and occasionally either transfer or otherwise download photos from wherever you take them, whether that's a digital camera or your smartphone, and put them somewhere on your desktop or your documents folder, something like that. Often in that case, you'll also have an external hard drive or two that are dedicated to photo and video storage, which can make things a little bit easier to keep organized. Some of you might also have something called a network-attached storage device, such as those made by Synology. These devices are designed to store large amounts of data in ways that are fault tolerant. So if one of your drives fails, the data is still intact and you can replace the drive before any data is actually lost. These can be excellent solutions if you're more technical, or willing to learn the process of how to set one up and use it to its fullest extent. Now, if you use local storage, you'll probably also be choosing at least one software platform to help manage the raw files that you've got from your camera or smartphone. Something like Adobe, they have a lot of photo management and editing tools. Xire is an interesting new player on the scene that has some AI capabilities. Aftershoot is another one. And I'll also mention here, again, both Mylio and Monument, which are software applications, and in Monument's case, also some hardware, that sit on top of your collection of photos and give you a ton of excellent features to help you manage your media collection. Now, jumping over to cloud storage options, some of the advantages of those are that first, it's accessible from anywhere as long as you have an internet connection. And that makes things very easy to share generally. You can get to it from your phone, whether you're at home or not. You can quickly share an album or a individual photo with whoever you want and control the access very simply through these methods that are built into the platform. Also, they're easy to expand and scale as you maybe take more photos and videos, especially videos. If you run out of storage space, all you need to do is bump yourself up to the next tier. Also, platforms like Google Photos and others are constantly adding the latest features that are available to them, including some rather remarkable AI-based features, things that require the platform to know what's in the photos, and then you can perform very simple natural language searches to find exactly what you're looking for without having to hunt through a potentially massive collection. Also, with cloud storage, you don't have to buy or maintain any hardware yourself. All that is done by the service provider. They're generally robust and reliable, especially the larger ones like from Google or Apple or Microsoft, and also often low cost, or in some cases even free. Just remember, if something is free, that often means that you are the product. So just be aware of what you're getting and what you're giving up in order to get it, whether that's dollars or privacy or something else. So there are pros and cons to all of these different options. Depending on your temperament, your technical ability, your budget, how much time you're willing to spend. And there is no single best option that applies to everybody. However, I will say that there are two options that are probably very good choices if you don't already have a system in place. And these are what I mentioned earlier, Mylio and Monument. These are local first platforms, but they offer a lot of the features and benefits that you typically find on the larger cloud-based photo storage platforms. Things like streamlined imports from your smartphone or computer or social media platforms, or even other photo storage platforms like Google Photos or Dropbox. Also, AI analysis like face tagging or photo content analysis that takes place entirely on your own computer. So it's not something that you have to give access to somebody else in order to accomplish. Also, photo sharing, often provided through a sort of limited cloud-based service just for those photos as opposed to your entire collection. Even access from anywhere if you choose to set it up that way. You can still synchronize your photos and videos, say from your phone when you're not at home. And finally, they provide integration with some popular backup services so that once you have your whole media collection organized, you can very easily say, I want to mirror a copy of this directly onto, say, Backblaze or OneDrive or Google Drive, whichever platform you choose for backups. It's easy to do from these tools. So I highly recommend that you take a look at both Mylio and Monument. Personally, I use Mylio. I would say it's maybe slightly more involved than Monument, but Monument also has a hardware component that's a dedicated device. But if you're planning to buy an external hard drive anyway, consider Monument instead, because in addition to that external device, you also get the entire platform. Both of these services, Mylio and Monument, are not free to get at least the best parts of them, but they're not prohibitively expensive. And just remember, you get what you pay for. So, quick review here in week 2 of Tidy 24 Photos Month. Your task is to pick your platform. Do you want cloud? Do you want local? Do you want hybrid? Check out Mylio and Monument, see if either of those look promising for your use case. Consider what you might need to buy in terms of an external hard drive or the Monument device, or if you choose to go the cloud route, if you need to sign up for a trial, or just make sure you still have your account credentials handy from the last time you set it up. See if you can get ready to start moving some of your photos in from the devices that you have, which is what we're going to begin doing next week. Until then, have a great week. I'll see you next Tuesday.